So it's been a while since I covered anything on my channel from the brand Guess, and I think that's because they haven't really been putting out too many fragrances. I think the last one I purchased was probably Guess Seductive and it was a long time ago from like TJ Maxx or something. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be taking a closer look at a brand new release 2022, and this one simply is entitled Guess Uomo. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this brand new fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you about the brand new Guess Uomo, which is this sort of lavender, cardamom, and grapefruit fragrance, I do want to start things off by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit that bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel, and I upload on a daily basis. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you took something of value from today's episode. Now, I think that's a bold title, Guess Uomo. And that says that it's a fragrance that is marketed or manufactured for gentlemen. And looking at the note breakdown, it has a lot of contemporary ingredients, or I should say it does have some classic ingredients in here, but they're done in a contemporary fashion. So you have cardamom, you have lavender, you have saffron, geranium, woods, amber, clary sage. It tends to go in a few different directions, but I can see that there is this sort of aromatic profile that I think is beginning to cater to a lot of youthful and more modern sentiments, especially when you think about the sclerine molecule fragrances like H24 by Hermes. And a lot of fragrances being released nowadays do have this sort of influx of clary sage and lavender and even cardamom, very classy ingredient, especially if it's not done in an overly spicy way, although this does have a little bit of saffron in the heart. So I'm excited to tell you how I think it stacks up when compared to other fragrances on the market, and if I think this is going to be a spice overload. But let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. Now, right in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get this bright, aromatic, and slightly citrusy introduction. I'm getting a little bit of like a bergamot feel from it. Bergamot is not listed as a note, but I am getting a bit of a bergamot touch. In terms of the grapefruit in here, so hard to say that I'm smelling grapefruit. Grapefruit is very obvious in fragrances like Tiger by Bulgari, or even Coach Leatherwear, which is discontinued now. Those were grapefruit bombs. In the case of this fragrance, just kind of like a generic citrus vibe, nothing special, to be honest with you. And then as you give this fragrance a chance to settle down, and I'm talking like 5 minutes, that's it, the lavender and the clary sage start to come out. And I think that combination is very youthful, very sort of business style, professional, young professional, very clean, very well groomed. It doesn't have anything ultra remarkable about it, but it does have this clean, sophisticated, youthful appeal to it. And I suppose if you are in your 20s and you just landed your first job, maybe it's a job that requires you to wear a shirt and tie, or perhaps even a suit and tie if you're working at a car dealership, or if you're working in an office setting, or if it's one of those jobs when you simply want to look your best. I think this is the fragrance to complement that, especially if you are in your early 20s. I think it has that youthful appeal about it. Now, some of the criticisms that this fragrance might receive from somebody who is perhaps a little bit older is that maybe it's a little bit too generic. If you've tried a lot of fragrances out there, maybe there aren't any standout ingredients in here. Even the geranium, you know, geranium is supposed to have a bit of a minty, rosy aroma to it. I don't get that from this fragrance. In terms of the cardamom, it's spicy, it's a little powdery when you're thinking of fragrances like La Nuit de l'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. Not getting that from this fragrance either. And even when it comes to the lavender, sometimes, even though it's not the most natural lavender smelling fragrance like a Caron pour un homme, at least it smells like a Mont Blanc Explorer, not Explorer, Legend, pardon me. That has a really nice youthful lavender scent. Now this does have that aromatic appeal, but it seems like a lot of the notes in here are kind of jumbled. Now here's the thing, I think this fragrance will still get you compliments despite the fact that it's on the more commercial side of things and it's on the more, I hate to say it, but generic side of things where you're smelling it and it smells good, but it doesn't smell like any one particular note is done in an exceptional manner. And I think nowadays, especially for me, having smelled everything that I've smelled in all of the bottles that I own, I'm typically looking for something that doesn't have to be earth-shattering, but I want it to have a little bit of a wow factor, and I don't think that this fragrance has that. I do think that it smells good. I think this one will appeal to somebody who's a bit younger. It does smell professional, and yes, you will get complimented on it. And it's funny, I always say this, even when you take a fragrance like Nautica Voyage, you might find it for 15, 20 bucks at your local TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Winners, if you're up in Canada, if you're lucky. And despite how inexpensive that fragrance is, it still happens to be one of my most complimented designer fragrances, and my wife loves it. So I do think that this fragrance will be successful in that manner, but if you're looking for something with a memorable DNA, think of another Uomo perhaps. Ferragamo Uomo by Salvatore Ferragamo. That fragrance with that tiramisu, cinnamon, coffee, sweet vanilla vibe is so unique. I can detect that fragrance from a mile away. If I didn't know any better and I smelled this, I wouldn't be able to tell you what it was. I think it's a bit on the nondescript side of things. But despite saying that, I think it's gonna do pretty well. Do I regret purchasing it? No, I have a pretty big collection and I've already used it quite a bit, and I will continue to use it because I like to show all of my fragrances a little bit of love, despite the fact some of them haven't been worn in a few years. But in any case, if you are young, you want to smell clean and professional, and you want to purchase a fragrance that is going along with some of the more youthful trends on the market today, check out Guess Uomo. It's also pretty affordable, even at the MSRP level. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. Now, first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I don't think it's the most unique fragrance. I have smelled the lavender clary sage combination a few times before. Maybe if the amber were a little stronger, maybe if the cardamom were a little bit more pronounced, maybe if some of the other ingredients had a bit more personality to them perhaps. But I do think that the brand played it safe, and I think as a result of that, they're gonna find a commercial smelling, mass appealing fragrance, and I really hope it does well for them. I never wish any brands any ill will. In terms of the longevity, I think this one is gonna get you around 6 to 7 hours on your skin. If you apply to clothing, which I did, you might get upwards of 8 hours. Projection was great for the first half hour to 45 minutes of application. It didn't start to sit closer to the skin, right around an elbow's length, I would say, at that 3 to 4 hour mark, and it became a skin scent at the 7 hour mark. Versatility for this one, probably gonna appeal to somebody who's a little bit younger. I think this fragrance is gonna be great for a formal occasion actually, as well as a casual scenario because of the price tag. And I think you can wear this one any time of the year you want. So I actually do find it to be a very versatile creation. And in terms of the presentation, I do like the sort of marble feel on the box here, and it has a bit of a classic appearance to it. Built-in atomizer that is a little bit wobbly, so I'm kind of scared to press down on it. There is a stopper that comes with it, but once you get the hang of it, it actually has a really nice mist, really nice distribution. My final verdict on this fragrance is it doesn't have a certain wow factor for me. It's a bit on the nondescript side of things, but it is very youthful smelling, a bit on the inexpensive side of things, decent projection, and very youthful and professional. So if you're in your early 20s or mid 20s or maybe even late 20s and you're working in that suit and tie environment, check this fragrance out. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate your viewership. If you enjoyed this review, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you could be notified whenever I do upload these daily reviews. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It would really mean a lot to me. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.